In this problem, we're going to be taking a look at exact values of trig functions, and we're going to be using the unit circle. We have a point that's on our circle. The point we're looking at is -1/2, radical 3 over 2. And we're on the unit circle, so let's go ahead and give ourselves a triangle to work with. And I'm going to go ahead and label my sides. So my x value here is a -1/2, and my y value is radical 3 over 2. And since we know we're on the unit circle, that means our hypotenuse has to have a length of 1. So let's go ahead and work with this triangle, and we're going to be finding each of these 6 trig functions. So let's go ahead and start with sine of t. Remember, this is our opposite side over our hypotenuse. So we have radical 3 over 2. And our hypotenuse has a length of 1. When we go ahead and divide these out, we're just going to get radical 3 over 2. For cosine of t, we have our adjacent side, which is a -1/2, over the hypotenuse, which has a length of 1. So this will give us an answer here of -1/2. And we have tangent of t. Here we have the opposite side, which is radical 3 over 2. And our adjacent side is a -1/2. Now let's go ahead and simplify this fraction. Keep in mind when you are dividing fractions, right? I'm going to keep my top fraction the same. That's my radical 3 over 2. And I'm going to change my problem to a multiplication problem. And then I need the reciprocal of my denominator here, which is going to give me a -2 over 1. Now we can go ahead and simplify this fraction. These 2's here are going to cancel, and we'll end up with a negative radical 3 over 1. I'm going to go ahead and leave that as a negative radical 3. Let's go ahead and find each of the other 3 trig functions. We have cosecant of t. Remember, this is the reciprocal of our sine function. So we have a 1 on top, and radical 3 over 2 as our denominator. And let's go ahead and divide this one out the exact same way, right? It's going to flip this fraction upside down, which is going to give us 2 over radical 3. And if you want to go ahead and rationalize this answer, this would be the same thing as 2 radical 3 over 3. Secant of t. We have the reciprocal of our cosine function. So we have 1 divided by the -1/2. This is going to give us a -2. And then for our last one, we have cotangent of t. So this is the same thing as -1/2 divided by radical 3 over 2. And let's go ahead and divide this one out. Remember, we want to go ahead and keep our first fraction the same. That's the -1/2. We're going to change our problem to a multiplication problem, and we'll flip our second fraction upside down. So our 2's here are going to cancel, and this is going to give us -1 over radical 3. And if you want to go ahead and rationalize your denominator here, you can multiply top and bottom by that radical 3. So a negative radical 3 on top, and 3 on the bottom will be our last function.